Hello everyone, welcome back to NoSQL data management. And last class we have discussed about what is NoSQL management and how it is different from SQL, and what are the features of NoSQL, and where how SQL and NoSQL are being applied in an application. That is what we discussed in the last session. And now we will be starting with the categories of NoSQL. See, actually, NoSQL means it is not only SQL. That is the meaning of NoSQL, right? So NoSQL means not only SQL. And second thing, and relational databases have the property. Relational databases will be normalized, but in NoSQL we don't have relational databases, right? And we have something called aggregates. And if I compare this relational database and NoSQL, relational database we use tables, and here we use aggregates, I mean documents. Okay. And second thing, like this NoSQL can offers in four categories. One is first type is key value database, which will be based as like a key value pair. If you want to access or retrieve a data from a database, you will be retrieving with the help of key value pair. Okay, so that you can see it as like a key value store. And second, document database, right? So document database, and document database example is MongoDB, which we use for real-time applications, right? MongoDB. Since one thing about this is like it is schemaless. It means like if you're trying to insert, if you're trying to store some kind of data into it, if you're trying to manipulate it, you need not to worry about the type of the data. If the data can be of int, or the data can be a float, the data can be of any type. So whenever data is getting into it, you will be creating an object you will be creating a relational object over it, and to that you will be assigning all the data, all the items to it. And this is document databases, MongoDB. And third one will be like a column family store. So this, as we talk about MySQL, all these databases supports will be operated in row wise manner like this. So this will be doing in column wise manner. So it is one difference between this and this. And the fourth one is called the graph database or the node database. So which is the most complicated one, right? So which is the most complicated one to understand and to read and write. So one example for this we can consider is like Neo4j is an example database for this graph and node database. And let us look into brief one by one what is the difference between this and this. And first let us will be proceeding. We will start with key value and document data model. And the first thing to be get noted is both are aggregate oriented. So whenever I talk about a key and value, it always comes so like in like a key and value name, and it will be having a value, and age it will be having a value. So it is always coming as like a key value pairs, and both are strongly aggregate oriented. And when I want to do some kind of with key value, I need a key or I need ID to use the data. And the other thing is like the aggregate is opaque to database in key value. I mean, this is not known to, it's not the structure of which can't see the structure of a database. But whereas in a document database, it is able to see a structure in the aggregate, but it is not able to see the structure in aggregate in key value. And with key value, we can access only aggregate by looking up based on its key. Whereas with document base, you can submit queries to the database. So based on the fields in the aggregate, we can retrieve part of the aggregate rather than the whole thing. And database can create indexes based on the contents of aggregate. So these are the differences between this and that. And you can take one example like React RAEAK. So which allows you to add metadata to aggregates for indexing and inter-aggregate links. Okay, so this is about this and that. And preferably if you're trying to use any kind of relational database schemas in your database database system, then it is preferred to go for MySQL or SQL relational RDBMS management systems, but you don't want to prefer this NoSQL. And the things like this SQL can be applied for a large, can't be applied for a large scale, can be applied for a small scale industries, right? Can be applied for a small scale industries which work for a structured test. Whereas if you talk about NoSQL, which can be applied on a huge data set, where you are getting a data set, is getting large data sets like Facebook. Even this is this kind of database are used in Facebook. Okay, so it is the next thing. And next about relationships. So as the name means relations, we are going to come tie two things together, right? So relation will be helping you to tie one object with the other object, to associate one object with the other object. So in that way, we will be trying to communicate one with the other. Let us consider the relationship between a customer and all of his orders, the orders which he is placing in some web page or in some web application. Okay, so here some applications wants to access the order history whenever they access the customer, and this fits best for when it combines the customer with this order history into a single aggregate. And some applications want to process orders individually and thus model aggregates as independent aggregates. So in this case, we want separate order and customer aggregates, but with some kind of relationship between them. So the simple way of doing this is we can provide a link to embed the ID of the customer within the orders aggregate data. If you need the data from the customer record, you can read the order. We can take the customer ID. We can make even a call to the database to read the customer data. We can do few kind of things like this. Okay, so document stores make the content of the aggregate available to the database to form index and queries. And the database which we're discussing about is called RIAK. It is a key value store database which allows us to put link information in metadata. And the next most important thing in relationship is how we are handling the updates in aggregate. That is the most complicated issue to be handled. How we will be handling multiple aggregates. Okay, so aggregate oriented databases treat the aggregates as a unit of data interval, and atomicity shall be supported only with single aggregate, as we had told in the last question. NoSQL does not support atomicity, and it is submitted to support only in single aggregate. If you have multiple aggregate at once, we should deal and make sure that no failure is being done. Okay, no failure is granted in my system. Okay, and if you want to deal some kind of databases which is huge in size, it can be like a structured, unstructured, where you will be using some more term called big data processing platforms. We will be using something like Hadoop, MapReduce, and we will also be discussing about MapReduce computations in these kind of things. Okay, and third, graph databases. So as I told you, this graph database can also be called as node databases, and which is the most important part of NoSQL, which inspires to know us the need to run on clusters. I mean, you can see a graph structure here. So in this thing, it don't treat like this as a bar chart or histogram. Just we refer to a graph data structure of nodes connected by edges. And to be simple, it is of graph, and we are connecting the edges with the nodes. For example, nodes are connected by edges. The edges are also called as arcs. Okay, the edges are also called as arcs. So with this, I can make a small structure you can see there is a rich structure of interconnection between them. So we can ask questions something like find the books in the databases category that are written by someone whom a friend of mine likes. So I'm trying to pass a query to get the database categories, textbook database categories from the database, which are the some textbook which one of my friend likes, right? So in this you can see, for example, let me take a point. Okay, so from this you can see all these are called objects. So all these are objects. All the objects are connected. So all the objects are connected. These objects are also called as edges. These nodes are connected by edges, and this line represents it as an relation. I mean, this can be used to represent it as a relation where an object is communicating to the other object. So here you can see the one thing which is connected, a line connecting two things. So it means it is bi-directional. Both the objects are sending and exchanging the messages. Okay, so overall I am talking about a query, right? Passing a query to access the database categories that are written by someone our friend likes. So let us see how this can be get solved. Okay. So graph databases are specialized in capturing this sort of information, but on a much larger scale. But it should not be like a smaller scale. The fundamental data model of graph database is simple: nodes connected by edges. So beyond this, what you're going to do and what this works like, for example. So as I told you, we can have an example called Neo4j, so which allows us to attach Java objects as properties to nodes and edges in a schemaless fashion. And let us discuss in detail about what is schema and what is schemaless objects and how this works. Okay, and let us take one more example also. If we are trying to pass a query tell me all the things about Anna and Barabara, so tell me all the things about Anna and Barabara, that you can see in the figure. Okay, so we need a starting place. However, this some nodes can be indexed by an attribute such as id, and then using the edges, which will be something like graph database expect most of the query to be navigating relations. Okay, so it is navigating relations. So what is a schema database? What is schema-less database? And to be simple, schema database is one in which you will be knowing what kind of data you are trying to fit. So which is known to you, what kind of trying to fit. What, for example, if it is having a field called key, some information called integer, some information called number, roll number of a student, and I know that it should be of type integer, it should not be of any other type. It will be clear, properly defined schema. If it is schema less, I will not be prefixing with what kind of data I may get. I may get the data integer, I may get the data float, I may get the data of anything. I will be processing it. That is schema and schema less. This SQL databases or schema-less databases. I mean, when you want to store data in a relational database, you first have to define a schema, a defined structure for the database, which says what table exists and which columns exist and what data types each column can hold. Before you store some data, you should have the schema defined for it, right? But with NoSQL database, it is very simple. And with NoSQL databases like a key value store, which allows you to store any data you like under a key, and document database does the same thing, but it makes no restrictions on the structure of the documents you store. And column family databases allows to do the same thing under any column as you like. Graph databases allow you to freely add new edges and freely add properties to nodes and edges as you wish. So we can do this. And in handling a uniform database table, this SQL works better, relational database works better. And in handling non-uniform database, the schema-less database table, we prefer this NoSQL to be get used. Okay, and the next one is materialized view. See, a materialized view, what that is representing is we are going to we are going to represent a query, right? We are going to represent the query. So it is an object, or you can treat as like a snapshot of a system where your query is being shown. That is called materialized view. So let us see what is in detail about materialized. For example, if you want to access orders, so it is useful to have all the data for an order contained in a single aggregate that can be stored and accessed as the unit. But what happens like when a manager wants to track an item about a particular item over last couple of weeks, but now this aggregate orientation works against you. What it is doing is it is forcing you to potentially read every order in the database to answer this query, right? So we can reduce this burden by building an index on the product, and you can do it by reducing it. Okay, so relational databases have an advantage like aggregate structure, so which allows them to support accessing data in different ways. Okay, and this provides a convenient mechanism, so which allows you to look at the different data differently from the way it is stored. So which allows you to differently view the data from the way it is stored. That view in a relational database table, that is called view, right? So this views are invented to know that are computed in advance and cached on disk. That is called materialized views. Okay, so materialized views are views that are computed in advance and cached on disk. So materialized views are effective for data that is read heavily, but can stand being somewhat stale. Okay, so that is materialized view. So this materialized view can be applied in two rough cache strategies. One is eager approach, second one is application database. And to be simple, eager approach is something like when you update the materialized view, at the same time you update the base data, whereas the application database is valuable like when you ensure that any updates to the base data also update materialized view. So it is moving from materialized view to update that base data, that is eager approach. And application approach is moving from this base data to update materialized view. Just it is like moving from this to this, and this is moving from 1 to 2, this is moving from 2 to 1. So this is materialized view. Okay, and like in conjunction to this, we have one thing called map reduce computations. So we shall discuss map reduce computations next to this topic. So this works and how things are gets fitting in and how things works. Okay, so as we are told about eager approach, where you update the materialized view at the same time update the base data for it. An application database approach is valuable as it makes easier to ensure that any updates to the database also update materialized. Okay, so this is what we have discussed. So distribution models. See, the primary most important thing of NSQL is it has its ability to run databases on a large cluster. That is the most primary important property about NoSQL, right? So as the data volume increases, it becomes more difficult and expensive to scale up things, right? So buying a bigger server to run the database on. So all these things can be get resolved by this NoSQL, so where you can run the database on a cluster of servers, right? Aggregate orientation fits well with the scaling out, because aggregate is naturally need to use distribution. So depending on the distribution model which we use, we can get a data store, so which gives the ability to handle large quantities of data, which provides you the ability to process a greater read or write. So broadly we have two paths to data distribution. One is replication, second sharding. Replication takes the same data and copies it over multiple nodes, whereas sharding puts a different data on different nodes. Okay, sharding puts different data on different nodes. And we will also be discussing about a few techniques like single server, a master slave replication, a sharding, and peer-to-peer replication. Okay, I mean like replication comes in two forms. One is master slave and peer-to-peer. So replication comes in two forms. One is master slave, peer-to-peer, and also we'll be discussing about a single server, master slave, peer-to-peer, sharding in the next session. I hope this fits best for you. Thank you. And what the topics that we have discussed now is like a key value document, data model, graph databases, relationships, materialized view, and distribution model. Okay, hope prepare well, and let's continue with the next topic, single server, in the next session. Thank you.